The Panama Canal, a lifeline of global commerce. We take infrastructure for granted. It's like, yeah, the bridge is there, the road is there, the lights are on. But what happens when it's not? When the very arteries of global trade start to rupture? That's what we're facing with the Panama Canal. This isn't just some ditch in the jungle, this is a 50-mile marvel of engineering connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Before the canal, ships had to navigate around the treacherous tip of South America. It was a logistical nightmare. The canal changed all that, slashing shipping times and costs. It's a lifeline for global trade. Everything from cars to coffee to crude oil flows through this waterway. It's not an exaggeration to say that the Panama Canal is the lifeblood of the global economy. But like any piece of complex machinery, the canal is showing signs of wear and tear. It's not just the age, it's the sheer volume of traffic. Think about it. Over 14,000 ships pass through the canal every year. That's like a constant parade of supertankers and cargo ships, putting enormous stress on the infrastructure. And recently, some alarming cracks have been discovered near the Miraflores locks, one of the canal's critical points. These aren't just hairline fractures. We're talking about some serious structural damage. These cracks are a wake-up call. They expose the vulnerability of even our most impressive feats of engineering. Think about the amount of pressure those locks are under. They're essentially giant bathtubs that raise and lower ships 85 feet. That's a lot of weight shifting around, and now we're seeing the consequences. The cracks are a clear indication that the canal is under immense strain, and some experts believe this could be just the tip of the iceberg. There are concerns that these fractures could be a symptom of a much larger problem. It's like when you get a crack in your windshield. At first, it's just a small annoyance. But if you ignore it, it can quickly spiderweb across your entire windshield, compromising the integrity of the whole thing. That's what we're risking here. We can't afford to ignore these warning signs. The stakes are too high. If the canal were to fail, the impact on the global economy would be catastrophic. Here's where things get really interesting. Some geologists believe that these cracks might not be due to wear and tear alone. They suspect that there might be a previously unknown tectonic fault line running right underneath the canal. Now, we're not talking about some San Andreas-level fault, but even a minor tremor could spell disaster for the canal. Imagine a scenario where a small earthquake occurs right under the Miraflores locks. The consequences could be catastrophic. The locks could be damaged beyond repair, effectively shutting down the canal. And this isn't just some far-fetched theory. Panama is located in a seismically active region. It's only a matter of time before a significant earthquake strikes, and if it happens near the canal, well, let's just say we're all in for a world of hurt. Navigating geopolitical waters, the US, China, and the canal. As if things weren't complicated enough, you've got the geopolitical angle. The US has a long and, let's face it, complicated history with the Panama Canal. We built it, controlled it for decades, and even launched a military invasion to protect our interests there. So, naturally, when these cracks were discovered, the US was quick to offer help. They sent engineers, equipment, and even pledged financial assistance. Now, some folks might see this as a benevolent gesture, but others view it as a power play. China's been investing heavily in Panama, and the US isn't exactly thrilled about it. They see it as a threat to their influence in the region. And then there's the issue of the Belt and Road Initiative. China's been trying to get Panama on board with this massive infrastructure project, and the US isn't too keen on that idea either. So, yeah, the whole situation is a powder keg of geopolitical tension. The canal is a strategic asset, and everyone wants a piece of the action. The price of disruption. Economic fallout of a canal shutdown. Let's talk about the economic fallout for a second. If the canal were to shut down, even temporarily, the impact on global trade would be like hitting a brick wall at 100 miles per hour. Ships would have to reroute around the tip of South America, adding weeks to their journeys. And we're not just talking about a few extra days at sea. We're talking about massive delays, skyrocketing shipping costs, and potential shortages of essential goods. Remember the Ever Given situation in the Suez Canal? That was a major disruption, and it lasted only a few weeks. Now, imagine that on a much larger scale and for an indefinite period. We're talking about trillions of dollars in losses, potential recessions, and global instability. It's not just about the money, either. The canal is a vital link in global supply chains. Everything from food to medicine to electronics relies on its smooth operation. A shutdown would have a ripple effect across the entire planet, impacting the lives of billions of people. Secrets of the deep archaeological treasures beneath the waterway. As if all this wasn't enough, we've got another layer of complexity to add to the mix archaeology. During the recent inspections of the canal, divers stumbled upon something completely unexpected: submerged structures. We're not talking about a few old bricks, we're talking about potentially significant remnants of a pre-Columbian civilization. It seems that before the canal was built, this area was home to a thriving culture. And now, their secrets are literally bubbling up to the surface. This discovery adds a whole new dimension to the situation. It's not just about engineering and geopolitics anymore, it's about preserving history. The Panamanian government is now faced with a dilemma. Do they prioritize the canal's repairs, or do they halt everything to excavate these ancient ruins? It's a tough call, and it highlights the complex interplay between progress and preservation. The future of the Panama Canal: innovation, uncertainty, and global significance. So what's the future hold for the Panama Canal? It's a question without an easy answer. One thing's for sure: the canal is at a crossroads. We can't ignore these cracks, both literal and metaphorical. We need to invest in its maintenance, explore innovative solutions, and maybe even rethink our reliance on this single point of global trade. Some folks are talking about building a new canal altogether, while others are pushing for more sustainable solutions like water conservation and alternative shipping routes. The discovery of the archaeological site adds another layer of complexity, forcing us to consider the historical and cultural significance of the canal zone. The future of the Panama Canal is uncertain, but one thing is clear: its fate is inextricably linked to the future of global trade and the delicate balance of power on the world stage. It's a reminder that our world is interconnected in ways we often overlook. And when one part of the system starts to crumble, the consequences can be felt far and wide.